Welcome to a Spotlight on the Work series. Today we're talking to Horcelie. Thank you so much for joining us. Please, could you tell us a bit about who you are and what you do?
Okay, hi guys. My name is Horcelie Sindawambongo. I'm 25 years old. I'm an activist. I'm a campaigner. I'm an artist, and I currently work in healthcare. So I'm currently working as a health assistant. But I am also building my website so you guys can see my artwork.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Multi-talented, multi-talented. So maybe we could talk a little bit about some of the things that you do. Maybe if we could start off as your role as a healthcare assistant. What does a typical day look like for you?
Very busy. So I work at a clinic and we're actually testing people for COVID-19. So I've been trained to test people, and I got this job. Although you guys are wondering you're an artist, but I got this job because I've worked in healthcare before in a residential home. So this is a bit more different because I'm actually doing more clinical work. But it's very busy. You can imagine right now people are traveling to, Italy, South Africa, so they want to make sure they get tested. And some people are going back home to visit their loved ones. So, for example, today I worked and we had about 80 people a day, and sometimes it goes up to 100 people. So we're always testing people for COVID, and of course, we do have people that are also positive.
Wow, it's an important job, a very important job.
Yeah.
And in that role, did you have to tell your employer about your HIV status?
Not at all. So I was actually part of Youth Stop AIDS conference that I did currently. I attended. I wasn't part, so I just attended to listen. Their campaign, I think it was End AIDS or something like that. It was this year's campaign. But so I got to speak with the MP, sorry, and then I said the same thing. I said no, and he said, "Do you think perhaps in the future people would take HIV like they take corona?" I said no, because HIV is contracted so many different ways. So we're talking sexually, we're talking blood transfusion, we're talking childbirth. So those are the three ways. But whereas COVID is only through just saliva for coughing, and somebody gets corona. So no, I didn't tell anybody because I know that I'm going to be questioned a lot by the team that I work with, the owner of the clinic, and I know it will be safe because obviously it's clinical area. So we work with London laboratory. So they would have obviously knowledge. I can't assume all, but I think they would have knowledge of like HIV because obviously they deal with infection diseases. But because I'm touching people a lot, and you don't want that to be your discussion, because you just want people to trust you. And I know if you say that, some of the employee may even become a bit distant with you. I mean, some. I have been asked before when I worked in my old residential home, and she kept asking me, "Oh, so why do you always go out? You always have," and I had like appointments at the time. I had like 3 appointments for my doctors. She said, "Is there a reason why? Because you keep taking out?" And I told her, "Oh, because I have to go and do my blood test and stuff like that." She said, "Blood for what?" And I said, "Because I'm HIV positive." And then she said, "Oh, you're aware that you're working with vulnerable people." And I knew, and I couldn't like, I wasn't like rude or anything. I didn't react to it because I knew she obviously has known little knowledge, and I've come to understand that people say what they say is because HIV is not something people talk about every day anymore. Now we talk about COVID, so I've accepted that people don't. They're not ignorant. Some are not ignorant, just they don't know, and she said it in a way that she was just being careful, for me with other, because I am working with vulnerable people. So, and I told her no, because obviously I can't pass on HIV to anybody because I'm undetectable and I take my medication. She said, "Oh, okay, just be careful." So, it is, that's what it is. There's I feel like there's no point of telling people, because right now COVID is the scary is the scary illness we have right now, but it doesn't take away stigma with HIV.
Thank you for that. And I just love the way you're kind of using an approach, like a need to know approach. Not everyone needs to know. And there are so few job roles where we do actually have to tell people about our HIV status. And hearing you working in health and the importance of knowing that it's not every health environment that you have to talk about your HIV status as well. Especially where, like you say, there are people that just don't always have the most up-to-date information. We shouldn't always feel like we're in a position where we have to educate them.
No.
So, it can be its own hard work. Sometimes we just want to
Yeah.
get on with the day job.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us maybe about some of the other things that you do, campaigning or being an artist, and how you've navigated HIV in those different spaces as well?
Yeah, so I've just finished my master degree in October. Yeah, thank you. I just finished my master degree in October, and it was hella hectic. It was crazy. It was intense. So I've been blessed to study one of the top art universities in the world. So I was in St. Martin's, where I did my foundation degree. Then I went to Chelsea College of Art. I did my fine art degree there, and then waited 2 years. The 2 years out, I did more in campaigning, and I'm going to get into that after. So then 2 years later, I realized the older you're getting, the more harder it is to get to master degrees as well, because it's becoming expensive. And also, I think through student finance, they always ask you how long have you waited to start a degree, because I think they say something about if you wait like after like 5 years or something, there are certain degrees they'll have to charge you or they can't pay for you. So I was like, okay, it's a good thing. Let me go back now. So I went back and I got a grant. I got £60,000 grant to study at Sotheby's, because the degree is 25K. And then what do you call it? Student finance paid for the rest, and then the little money that was left as well. I'd say little, but it wasn't little, but I paid for the rest as well. But it was the most amazing experience. We went to the Venice last year. After Venice, we went to Germany. After Germany, we went to Amsterdam. So it just goes to show that knowledge has nothing to do with HIV. Being knowledgeable, I think that's the best way to phrase it. Being knowledgeable has nothing to do with HIV. You could be a writer. I do freelance writing for our magazine. It's a student-led magazine. It's just to get myself in, the network. So I did that, and I'm still building myself, and I do want to do my PhD, not now, maybe in like 4 years time, in philosophy and politics. And so with the campaigning side, the 2 years, what I was doing is a lot of people in my community, in the Congolese community, don't know my status through the beauty pageant that I did. So I've just been campaigning in the community, raising awareness, and I led a campaign in Congo for 1 month. I was in Congo for 1 month, in Kinshasa, the capital, and it was amazing. So my organization, my charity, so we actually work directly with the national HIV program in Congo, and they support our work. So we provide services for them in the communities. And we were supposed to be in Congo this year, but obviously with COVID, we couldn't go. And I was supposed to go in Ghana as well. So in October, I was supposed to be in Ghana, and then November. And by God's grace, it's the people that I work with are being great. So I have a team. There's 5 of us all together now, leading the campaign. So it's just been amazing. It's very stressful. Working in Africa is extremely stressful. Because you never know what's going to turn out. You tell people, let's meet up at 2, you end up meeting up at 5, but I'm so grateful, because everybody that I'm working with, I'm not paying them, we're all not getting paid, but their heart is there, their mind is there, and they really want to do it for the community in Congo. So that's what I do. And so I try to connect the conversation of HIV, not just HIV, but health, between Congolese in the diaspora. So those who live outside of the Congo, or those who were born in Congo but then lived outside of Congo, like myself. So trying to kind of create that conversation where we're talking about HIV, we're talking about AIDS. Like right now, recently for World AIDS Day, every World AIDS Day, what I do is I ask Congolese people to send me, like last year, I asked them to just send me a simple picture, but this year I wanted to be a bit different because the theme this year for HIV or for AIDS, to end AIDS, it was resilience and impact. And I was like, I used it as an opportunity. So I said, guys, you know, what does resilience and impact mean to you in regards to HIV and AIDS, where you are from? So I asked other friends who are from Nigeria, I asked friends who are from Ghana, because although people are born with HIV, you realize the conversation is different from different communities and different African communities specifically as well. So they just sent me like a 16, not even 16 minutes, it was like 30-second video. And that was our virtual campaign, because obviously we had to do something else. We had to, you know, navigate ourselves around, just like Chiva is with COVID. And yeah, so people send me videos, you know, I put it all together and I just sent it out. You know, everybody knows that I'm HIV positive, literally. Majority of people, not everybody, but majority of people, especially in the UK, that are Congolese. But I think I try not to put my story in this campaign, because sometimes people forget the work and they just see you as if you're the one, like a savior. And I find that very uncomfortable now. It's like people tell me, oh, you know, you're going to deliver a lot of people. I'm like, I'm not Jesus, guys. I'm not Jesus. I'm not trying to save people. Like, I'm not a savior. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make us understand HIV is one of the illness that's a taboo. But along the way, we can actually improve the healthcare in Congo via through talking about and also working with health services. And I realized the service I receive here, I am extremely grateful, because there are people in Congo, they do have medication, but they don't go to the clinic to pick it up because obviously of stigma. We do annual campaigns in Congo, and we're trying to expand in different African countries so that we can obviously create that like a beautiful landscape, that's what I can call it, like a beautiful picture of people who are stepping forward to talk about, you know, HIV. And to see somebody talk about it is a shock to many. It shocked a lot of people in my community to see a young person. But I would say, I think for them it's like hooray. But for me, it was like, it was out of grief and it was out of pain. And a lot of people don't understand that. So when people just want to invite you to things, it's like, I didn't do it because it was fun. I did it out of pain, and you guys don't get that. So instead, you start over sympathizing with me, and sometimes it feels a bit empty. It doesn't feel like anything at all. Like somebody would tell you, "Oh, wow, I'm so proud of you." I'm like, I don't really know what you're proud of exactly. Or someone would say, "Oh my God, I will help you through everything," and it's just empty. Literally, it just feels flat. I feel nothing when people say that, because I realize that when you're working, if you're HIV positive, but you have a goal and you're working, you have to stay professional and you have to stay positive, because what people will do is they will over sympathize with you as a way to help, but actually they're not practically helping you. They're just emotionally involved. So we try to avoid that in our campaigns, so that we try not to be so emotional, people to be emotionally involved. Not that it's not an emotional thing. It is. Like it is painful. It is hard. It is difficult to live with HIV. It is, but we don't want it to become so emotional that we're forgetting, you know, our aim is to provide service and to build the community. So yeah.
That's incredible. That's really incredible. And I think especially what you were saying about campaigning and it being more than one person, it's about that collective goal coming together as a team. Yeah, it's amazing. And you know what? I really love the way that you've chosen to share your HIV status in a way that works towards the goal that and the aims that you have. So in some situations, of course, it makes sense. In other situations, it doesn't necessarily make sense. And it will really show the people watching this that actually there is the opportunity to adapt depending on what is right for that situation. So that's amazing. And your work sounds incredible,
Thank
like
you.
really incredible, doing a lot of important things. I wanted to ask you as a final question, what
Yeah.
would be your advice to young people who are maybe interested in getting involved in healthcare, maybe interested in being campaigners, interested in being in the arts, young people living with HIV, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I would say, just be a learner. I think is important in life generally to know when to stand and speak, but when to sit down and just learn. I think being a learner has taught me how to campaign. I didn't know about campaigning. I went to volunteer South Africa, but that was so different. So I learned about campaigning through Youth Stop AIDS. I learned that I can write to my MP through Youth Stop AIDS. I learned about community work through, going out and volunteer. So learning, if you're trying to get into art or any other profession that's not campaigning, I'll say, just study, and there's no other way to put it, just simple way to put it. It's like, you have to study, you have to work hard. That's life. And I can honestly say to you, yes, HIV was a load. It was painful. It was hard, but it wasn't my problem. You'd be very surprised. I did everything. I went to school. I went to secondary school. I had the best time with my friends. We're still friends to this. They didn't even know I was HIV positive. They only found out when I was older. So it goes to show to you that you just have to live. Life is God had gave us life to live. You have to live life, create those memories with your friends. You know, don't hold yourself back because you have an illness. And don't forget, HIV has come so far. We are literally the lucky generation because we don't have to take 6 medication a day, 10 medication tablets a day. So, go out there, have fun, dye your hair. I always dye my hair. Dye your hair, cut your hair, you know, be youthful.